this bill to the House.
Reno Turakatni.
Well, Mr. Speaker, we've heard a lot of scaremongering from the government in this debate so far, and in particular the last speaker was demonstrating his mathematical or
This is a split call.
Kia ora. Kia ora, Mr. Speaker. And the last speaker was wanting us to drill down a little bit into the detail. We've heard the talk about that there's the tsunami of welfare dependence that's actually going to swamp our country. Well, let's drill into those numbers a little bit. The previous speaker mentioned that there are 328,000 people receiving a benefit, which is around 12% of the entire working age population. That is appalling. Absolutely. But in terms of this bill only targets young DPB recipients. And the DPB recipients of that 328,000 is only 4%. 4% of that 328,000 are actually directly addressed by that bill. But wait for it, we can go further. If you want to go deeper into the detail, only 3% of those DPB recipients are under 20 years of age. So all the talk about this great tsunami, what that statistic does demonstrate, Mr. Speaker, is that this government is absolutely failing in its social compact duty of actually creating an economy with jobs that can actually employ our people.
That's right.
It's the 96% of the people represented in that statistic of 328,000 that they should be focusing on, not targeting the most vulnerable DPB young mothers and young people. So the figures don't show for themselves. This bill doesn't actually address the problem. It is just picking on the most vulnerable young mothers and young people. And those young people, as the member would be aware, you go up into the far north, you will see them in places in Moerewa. You go to Tairāwhiti, you'll see them in Wairoa. They're right throughout the country. They are the ones who are actually going to be adversely prejudiced by this bill, Mr. Speaker. So we've demonstrated that the numbers that the government is bandying about really just shows their own incompetence and their own economic mismanagement. And what it is, Mr. Speaker, is that all of it is just a diversion. And the diversion is the fact that this government has no plans for jobs, they have no plans for growth, the economy is stagnant, they want to sell the assets off, they're putting austerity cuts through the public sector. Now we're seeing poor standards of ministerial conduct, cronyism, and deals for their rich mates. That's all what it's about. And what are they doing? They're describing that there's a tsunami. A tsunami. So, Mr. Speaker, so we've got a lot of scaremongering that's going on here. A lot of scaremongering, but it doesn't address the real issue. And the real issue is that there are too many people out of work in this country, and now what they're going to do is implement punitive measures on young mothers and their children. So, Mr. Speaker, I will conclude my speech right now, and I just want to say that we are opposing this bill. Labour will be opposing this bill, and I've joined with my colleagues here in opposing this bill. Kia ora tātou.
Catherine Delahunty.